Hey everyone, so I just wanted to do a quick update video regarding my campaign thus far, the things that I've done and the things that I have planned for later on this week. And then addressing a couple different questions that I've been getting very, very frequently and clearing up a couple others as well. So far the support has been amazing. Thank you all very, very, very much for all the messages, the calls, the texts, everything. It's been unreal. And I do know I have a lot of support out there, and I've enjoyed so far meeting all of you and answering your questions. And it's been fantastic. So far I went to the coast, on the south coast of Mendocino, which was incredible. Met a lot of really, really nice people. They asked a lot of great questions. My interview is floating around Facebook somewhere. I believe it's on my page as well. And yesterday, I was up in Willits at the city park, which was a last minute venue change, which there was a decent turnout for that as well. And I had a great time doing that. Today's Wednesday. So from 6 to 8 tonight, I'm going to be up in Boomers in Laytonville. And I have something scheduled tentative for tomorrow. I'm still trying to figure out if that's going to be taking place or not. Friday, I'll be in Fort Bragg itself. Still working on a time and a spot exactly. Should be around noon. And then Saturday, I'm going to be at the Burger Spot in Hopland from noon to 2, and then up in Covelo from 5 to 7 p.m. that same night. A couple other things planned as well, and some other stuff I'm putting together. It's been pretty challenging. I have one of my buddies, Perry, who's been outstanding, and he's been helping me essentially like my unofficial, campaign manager, calling around and trying to put this stuff together. He's been the one making all the banners for me with the spots that I'm going to be, doing the meet and greets at and stuff like that, which has been very, very, very helpful. Just due to the time crunch, I'm trying to visit as many of these places as I can and meet as many of you as I can. But given the fact that it's, we're at such a short, small window here, it's definitely more challenging. So I'm doing the best that I can, guys, and getting around as much as possible, because I do want to meet you all and listen to your questions, your concerns, your comments. And do all those sorts of things. So that's pretty much what I've been doing. I've been having a lot of people taking it upon themselves to make their own signs and t-shirts and write stuff on the back of their vehicles in support of me, which is incredible to see. And it just goes to show me even more that I am glad that I did this. I'm doing it for the right reasons. It's definitely not for myself. It's not for my mental health or anything like that. It's for the public, because I've been told time and time and again over this last week that people are desperate for a change. They're desperate for something new, and they are unhappy with the way things that are being run and the lack of transparency and lack of accountability. Two major things that I am, that's basically what my platform is based off of. So I'm here to serve you all and do the best that I can with this election. And no, time is definitely not on our side. And but I could, can only do so much. It is what it is. So I'm just going to keep pressing forward with the remainder of the time that I do have and do as much as possible. So I've done a few different interviews. I did a podcast. I was on the radio station KMUD. I did 2 separate interviews with KZYX. And yesterday I did a live interview with KZYX, and I took some heat from that from, a bunch of people in the community. And I just wanted to clarify a couple things. So one of those things that people were unhappy with my response on that was COVID. And I've been asked this, I don't even know how many times at this point since I've been going around campaigning. My stance on the COVID mandates, is it something that if I was elected as sheriff, I would be enforcing if additional mandates came down from the state, which at this point, I'm not sure why they even would. So a lot of people were unhappy with my answer. So I'm not one of those conspiracy theorists, okay? Like, I know COVID exists. I know it's very deadly. I personally know people that have died from it, and it should be taken seriously, especially for the elderly and immune compromised and stuff like that. March of 2020, when that all started, I was living in Covelo at the time as a resident deputy, and it was a scary time, right? Because we didn't know what was going on. And the media, I blame for pushing this so hard and essentially brainwashing a lot of people into being terrified, right? And like I said, I'm not discounting COVID. I do know it is very serious. I know that hundreds of thousands of people have died as a result of COVID. But I think from the beginning, it should have been handled differently. And the misinformation through that entire time period was quite ridiculous. We had a lot of our higher up officials, including our governor, the state of California, Gavin Newsom, getting caught at very public events, shoulder to shoulder with people, not wearing a mask. So there was a ton of hypocrisy with that from the higher ups, in terms of the politicians that were telling us to follow all these rules. and they in turn were not doing that themselves. So then that, starts to question the fact, okay, so is this legit? Do we need to be concerned? Also, the flip-flopping back and forth a lot from the CDC. Granted, it was a new virus and they didn't know a lot about it at the time, and it was a learning process for everyone as we continued, for the last 2 years. However, at this point in time, a lot of people, I'd say the majority, are vaccinated. There are a lot of employers out there that are requiring their employees to be vaccinated to maintain their employment and stuff like that. And it's been around for a while. The CDC finally came out and said, if you've already had COVID and you're not vaccinated, they do not advise you to get the vaccine. So there's been a lot of changes in the last 2 years, and that's what I'm talking about here. So this is no longer March of 2020. So people want to know, would I use law enforcement if I was sheriff, like deputies, to go enforce mask mandates and social distancing and stuff like that, and like potentially arrest people and put them in jail for these things? No, I would not. I'm not going to change my answer on that. I don't want to give like some political answer to appease a certain group of individuals. At the end of the day, I'm a very honest, transparent person. I'm going to give my opinion on things, and at the end of it's an opinion. Not everybody's going to share it. That's fine. We're all human. We all see things differently. We've all experienced different things. And at this point, given like I said, the vast majority of people that have been vaccinated with the first two, and then they got the booster and stuff like that, and the fact that it's been, circling around the population for 2 years now, is it something I'm going to tell, like, if I was sheriff, my deputies, like, hey, there's a group of 6 people here in a park not wearing a mask, go arrest them? No, I'm not going to do that. I'm absolutely not. So I'm sticking with that answer. I know that it does upset some people, and I can't appease everybody, and that's just how I feel about it. But I just want to make sure that I am clear on that point, and I do want to give an honest answer, because I've been asked time and time and again. That is one that continuously comes up, and I just want to make sure I'm clear on that point. And like I've stated multiple times in this video so far, if you do not agree with it and you don't want to vote for me because of these things, because of my views on these various issues, then don't. That's totally fine. That's democracy. That's your opinion. That's your right to do so. I'm still not going to change my mind regarding certain issues that I feel strongly toward, or that I have a different viewpoint. Again, it is something that should be taken seriously, but I do not want to infringe on people's freedoms when it comes to that specific topic, and make them shut down their businesses and make it so they can't feed their families, and the massive economic damage that has been done as a result of doing those things, that some of which is irreversible at this point. I mean, a lot of people lost their businesses, their homes, and everything like that. And if you want to wear a mask, I support you. If you want to get a vaccine, I support you. If you don't want to do either of those things, I support that as well. If you're sick, stay home. Be cognizant of others' feelings and others' health, and be smart. And I think that it should be left up to the people to make that decision for themselves. And as long as it's being done in a safe manner. So that was the first thing. The other thing I took a lot of heat of is the assault rifle issue, which I've been getting consistently asked as well, which obviously is stemming from the most recent tragedy that occurred in Texas, the school shooting, which is obviously horrible. I mean, there's no words for that whatsoever. But I got asked if I support a assault rifle ban, and it was a yes or no question. I didn't really have time to elaborate on this. So full disclosure, I'm not a gun guy. I never have been. Just because I was a cop, there's some misconception that we're all obsessed with firearms. I am not. The first guns I ever owned, really, like I had shotguns when I was younger, but the only guns I'd ever owned were first issued by the Mendocino County Sheriff's Office. I personally don't care about assault rifles. I don't personally see the need for them. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't. I mean, I have a lot of friends that have assault rifles, and they go out and they hunt, and it's very rural Mendocino County. So there's bears and stuff like that. So they have their own reasons why they want them. And they like them, and they like to shoot and stuff like that. I've never been that type of person. I'm very much a fan of a CCW, carrying it concealed for your protection, your family's protection, and stuff like that. I'm all for that 100%, with following the background check and the classes and all those sorts of things. So, but in terms of the ban itself, now we've proven time and time and again that outlawing things, and I've seen it on the street, it doesn't work, right? So take the war on drugs. Drugs won the war on drugs for sure. We still have fentanyl. We still have all these overdoses. We still have meth and things like that, which it's never, unfortunately, going to go away. And outlawing those things really didn't work, which is why people chose to vote to decriminalize those things. Took it from a felony to a misdemeanor, in some cases an infraction, or it's just not illegal at all in certain states. So with assault rifles and stuff like that, yeah, There's criminals that can go get any type of gun that they want way easier than I can. The ones that are doing the drive-bys, the robberies, shooting people and stuff like that, a lot of them are making them. There's no serial numbers or anything associated with that. It's not that difficult. In the state of California, assault rifles are illegal. They are a felony unless, they meet that certain criteria for ARs. Like you can't have a mag release, you have to have a bullet button, you can't have a collapsible stock. And so there's various things that you have to, that can't be associated with that assault rifle for it to be legal. So they are, for the most part, already a felony. They are already outlawed, and they are still everywhere. They're everywhere. Do I agree with an age limit to purchase them? Yes. Do I agree with a background check? Yes. Do I agree with some sort of potentially like psychological screening or something like that? Yes. If people want to have them and they can meet all those requirements, then yeah, you know what I mean? I don't see a problem with that. However, at the end of the day, my opinion, and I think people read into this a little too much, my opinion on that stuff really doesn't matter. I mean, at the end of the day, like if I am elected sheriff, it's my job to enforce the law. So if the feds state that there's going to be a ban across the country for assault weapons, or the state changes and say, the same thing, it's my job to enforce the law. It doesn't matter if I agree with it or not. So if they say that there's a ban, then that's what I'm going to be enforcing. I'm not going to stand back and say, no, I'm not doing that. Right. And in my mind, that is different from legally enforcing something like a COVID mandate. So, enforcing actual crimes themselves. And as I've stated multiple times before, I've arrested numerous people for things that I didn't necessarily agree with in terms of the law, but I still did my job. And it was a requirement per the law and per policy or whatever it is that I do make that arrest and that person go to jail for whatever it was. So the same thing applies to assault rifles. If there is a ban, like I said, it's something that that will be enforced on the street. I'm not just gonna, like, if we pulled somebody over and they have an assault rifle, just because I don't agree with that law, I'm just gonna go hands off and walk away. If it's a felony and they can't possess it or whatever, then appropriate action will be taken at that point. I don't know if a full ban is an answer. Everyone is entitled to their opinion on that sort of thing. I know that they're doing that in Canada currently right this second, and I guess we will see how that plays out, and the statistics and everything, the crime rate, if that's affected whatsoever, and those sorts of things. So that's my answer for that. And I've also been asked continuously, even though I've addressed it multiple times, my stance on the cannabis community. I believe that the permitting process in this county, in Mendocino County, is a failure. It's very expensive. I've talked to a lot of growers, especially recently, one of which said he's been waiting 5 years for his permit to clear. I think that there's a lot of fundamental issues as a result of that stuff that is really out of my hands, and it's with the ag department, the board of supervisors and stuff like that. So there are problems with that. And my main focus of enforcement is the trespass grows, the cartel grows, the ones where we have the kidnappings, the shootings, all the crime associated with those things, with the garbage, like going into the streams and the rivers and things like that. So those are the problems. Those are the ones I want to focus on. And I would like to contract out to a security unit, which a lot of agencies are doing these days, because the Comet marijuana team at the sheriff's office has like 1 or 2 guys in it, if that, even more. So to get that up to staffing, you'd have to pull a bunch of guys off patrol, which they don't even have, put them into that unit. And then that's more that you have to hire for the street. So what a lot of agencies are doing is they're contracting out to these various security companies, sometimes, deputizing them or whatever, and then having them attached to like 1 or 2 guys in the Comet unit for these various agencies, and then going out and spending, 3-4 months just clearing out all that stuff. And it's financially, it makes sense. It's much cheaper than doing it the other route, and logically it makes sense as well. You can just hire that group at a certain time of year every single year to deal with these various issues. So there's a lot of things that go into that, with contracting and the budget and things like that for that process. But I think that that's going to be my main focus is those various things. And that's pretty much it for that. Those are the 3 main questions that have been continuously coming up, even though I have answered them multiple times. Some people haven't seen my other YouTube video or haven't seen all my interviews regarding that thing. So I just wanted to put that out there again for you guys. And in terms of Matt Kendall, I've been getting asked a lot of questions like, what's he doing? Are we going to debate? Blah, 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 blah. And so no, we're not. We're not going to debate. He's not going to debate me. He's turned down multiple interviews already with people that I've done interviews with that wanted to give him an equal opportunity as well to interview, and he won't do it. The only entity he will interview with or person is Matt LaFever with Mendo Fever, and that's because Mendo Fever, that guy works for the sheriff's office. If you did read that article he did about me, which I regret doing an interview with him, I'm going to tell you right now, he put a lot of things in there that I didn't say. He twisted my words around, and he also did not include a lot of things that I did say. He did offer me, I called him out on it. He offered me a chance to type up the issues that were in the article and resubmit them, and he was going to attach them. It wasn't worth my time to do that. He's not somebody I'm ever going to interview with again. So Matt Kindle's strategy currently, from what I've been told, is just to kind of sit back and not do anything and act like I don't exist and like this isn't currently going on. The couple people that I have interviewed with, specifically with KZYX, have reached out to him, and he basically told them, like, I'm busy with the budget. I'm busy serving Mendocino County. I don't have time to answer your questions. I can't confirm nor deny these various questions pertaining to the child pornography case or anything like that. So he's not being very accessible, it sounds like. And I don't expect to hear or see much from him the remainder of this election process. Like, he's already done 2 interviews with Mendocino Fever. I don't foresee him doing another one. And then also this morning, I've had a lot of people send me Tom Allman's endorsement for Matt Kindle with Mendo Fever. And, asking my thoughts on that. So I don't have a problem with Tom Allman. I never have. I personally like him. He was very, very helpful for me when he was sheriff and I was a resident deputy in Covelo. And Matt Kindle's his friend. He purposely appointed Matt Kindle to the undersheriff spot and knew that that's who he wanted to have succeed him and be sheriff. And that was his decision. I have nothing negative to say about him regarding that. And if he wants to endorse him, so be it. That's his right. I think it's kind of funny that he waited until less than a week left until the election ends to do so. That tells me, in my opinion, that these guys are scared. They're feeling threatened. They potentially see their empire, their good old boys empire, in jeopardy, and they're going to lose that. So I think that, doing these various things are, they're reaching. They're reaching at this point. I've had a lot of people, send me the thing that Shannon Barney, the old lieutenant with the sheriff's office, said about me. I didn't read it because Shannon Barney's a liar. He's part of the Good Old Boys Club. The only reason he was never fired back in the day or in prison, which he should be, is because of who his connections were at the time, and he's involved in that little group. So I don't really care too much what he says, and I didn't read it because, like I said, he's probably one of the biggest crooks that was ever employed at the Mendocino County Sheriff's Office, and it is phenomenal that he no longer works there, not just for the employees there so they don't get wrapped up in anything weird that he's involved in, but for you guys as well in the community. And all these people that are saying these negative things or still calling me a liar, they're doing whatever they can. This is how this game works, you guys. They're trying their best to discredit me by throwing whatever they can. Matt Kindle is using his friends like Shannon Barney and Tom Allman to say these things on his behalf because he's not going to say it, to try to sway people to vote in their favor. That's all it is. It doesn't bother me. I do know that all these people are friends or related to these people that I've talked about in YouTube. And I expected it, and it is what it is. I just want to make sure that you're all aware that that's just how that game goes, and that's just what they're doing. I don't take it personally. I find it funny, especially Shannon Barney's comment. Somebody told me he accused me of taking steroids or something. And that's just because Shannon Barney's never worked out a day in his life, and anybody that looks halfway athletic is going to appear to have taken steroids to him. So some of those things are just more comical than not to me. So I don't let it get to me. I have a mission, and my mission and my goal is to do my best I can with this campaign for all of you, because you guys are still being lied to. The transparency thing is still an issue. The accountability thing is still an issue. And I'm going to keep pressing forward and stay focused on the goal. And hopefully, I'm hoping to win the election. And if I don't, it is what it is. I'm sure it'll be a fair election and the votes will be counted properly. But yeah, like I said, I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing, try to get out in the community and meet as many of you as I can, which has been awesome. I've enjoyed that a lot. I've enjoyed answering your questions. I've had some people tell me to my face that they're still going to be voting for Matt Kindle, and I say, okay, great. That's totally fine. Nothing against any of those people whatsoever. So that's going to be it for this video. Just wanted to clear up a couple of those things and let you know kind of what's going on. And I hope to see as many of you out there as I can at these various events that I'm going to be doing this next coming week. So take care.